it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to This Mess is Holy. We're Diamond,
And Alex.
husband and wife, parents, and two souls figuring it out in real time. So this isn't your typical church service. It's a little messy, a little holy, but 100% real.
Every Sunday, we pull back the curtain on our marriage, faith, and family life to talk about what God is teaching us in the middle of it all.
Okay, so first, I really just want to start off today's episode by saying two things. One, I have a cold, that's why I sound like this. And then two, I actually forgot what I wanted to say for the second thing. What was it? Oh, if you have not watched The Testament of Moses on Netflix, it's like a 3-episode short series. I highly, highly, highly recommend you watch it. And that's actually what's prompting me to bring today's message. So, I guess I'll just dive into what caused me to watch the series. So I only had the information of Moses, or the story of Moses, from DreamWorks and their movie, I think it's called like The Prince of Egypt. So that is pretty much the extent of my knowledge of how Moses' story came to be. So watching this new Netflix series, it actually opened my eyes to the story of Moses so much more, and it kind of put it more in an accurate and adult perspective rather than an animation or a cartoon. So again, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And let's just go ahead and dive in. So you guys know most of the time I pull or at least lately I've been pulling like some Psalms cards just to kind of motivate me on something to talk about. Usually it almost always relates to what everyone is going through at the time. And coincidentally, I pulled out Psalms 106:19, which is the story about the golden calf that the Israelites ended up, crafting while Moses was at the top of Mount Sinai getting the 10 Commandments, and they basically lost faith. So, okay, let's just dive in because there are so many hidden gems in this. It's just absolutely insane. I think what I'll start to do first is just read from the 106:19. And let's pull that up. Where is it? 106. Okay, they made a calf at Horeb and bowed down to a molten image. So don't be in a hurry, it says. The calf at Horeb, Horeb, not sure how to pronounce it. A lot of these words are difficult to pronounce. The golden calf at Sinai reflected the Hebrews' impatience for a divine contact. According to the sacred text, Moses, who served as their sole mediator with the heavenly realm, journeyed to the top of Mount Sinai, where he remained for 40 days and 40 nights. During that time, the people didn't hear a single word from him. In their desperation, they fashioned a gold calf to coax the divine into their midst. To them, the calf, which is a bull, represented one of the creatures that pulled the divine's chariot, or Merkavah, Merkavah, which the prophet Ezekiel glimpsed, or the creature on which the divine rode astride. Now that you are on the spiritual path, be prepared to be patient. You cannot force the evolution of your relationship with the higher power, so avoid looking for shortcuts. The divine will reach toward you when your time is right. Remember, the divine's sense of timing isn't the same as yours. Wow, 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 wow. And it specifically says in that Netflix documentary, which is hilarious to me, but it's also very accurate, what should have taken 10 days ended up taking 40 years because people tried to force God's hand. They tried to force the way that God was going to show up for them and deliver his promises, not allowing God to just move the way that God does on his own timing. So again, what should have taken 10 days, 10 months, what should have happened a lot sooner ended up taking so much longer because they thought that they could bypass the healing. They thought they could bypass the lesson. They thought that they could skip over God. And it's funny, and I'm laughing because we have all been there. Oh my goodness. I have been there. I'm currently there. I know I get on here sometimes and it feels like I'm trauma dumping, but it's really honestly my testimony. So the cool kids call it trauma dumping. I'm choosing to call it my testimony. But currently, right now, I'm sitting in a position to where I'm unemployed. I was let go from my job after, some of you guys, if you've listened to previous episodes, my tire got slashed on company property. I ended up complaining about it, and ultimately I was let go because someone slashed my tire at work, right? So now I've been applying for jobs, trying to get back on the market, and I really don't feel called to doing a 9-to-5 again. I really feel called to making this my full-time job because this is what fills me. This is what makes me feel whole. This is what makes me actually feel like I'm using my voice, my skills, and my heart for the betterment of people, even more so than being a nurse. But it obviously does not pay the bills. So I have to find a job. I have to be practical, and I have to recognize that I live in a material world. I don't live in a spiritual world. Yes, the world is spiritual, but there is a material aspect to it. So I am currently struggling with my own calf. I'm not necessarily building an idol to replace God, but I am kind of bypassing that spiritual healing that needs to take place in order for any type of divine miracle to come in, because I'm losing faith. I'm losing faith in the thought of how is my rent going to get paid? How am I going to feed my child? My husband's stressed out. Our credit card bill is going up. We still are paying daycare fees, even though I'm sitting at home. There are so many bills that just pile up and accumulate, and you want to keep your life on the same trajectory, whatever, the same path that it was currently on. You obviously don't want to go back because I could apply to work at Speedway and be a cashier and make, $11 an hour or whatever. But that's not putting my skills, my education, and my heart into play and also helping my family stay afloat. Okay, so again, trauma dumping, but this is testimony because I'm realizing now, even just saying this, even just reciting this on the podcast, that I am losing faith, and what has God shown me, if not that he comes through for me every single time. So me losing faith is actually silly. It's actually the golden calf. It's actually me putting my faith into other things, expecting to force the divine's hand, when in reality, I know for a fact I can't do that. So it's really like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the more you try to force it, the more you're going to be rejected, and the more you reinforce your non-belief. Okay? So again, this is something that even I struggle with. So this is why I'm laughing, because again, the divine's sense of timing isn't the same as yours. So many things have to line up in order for God to move the exact way he pictures himself moving for you. Because you can have an image in your head, but it reminds me of that photo of a little girl offering her teddy bear to Jesus, and she doesn't want to give it up because it's her favorite teddy bear, and it's like a cute little handheld one that, she could just cuddle up with, blah, blah, blah. But God has a huge teddy bear Jesus has a huge teddy bear behind his back that he's willing to exchange when she offers up this little tiny teddy bear that she holds so near and dear. So it reminds me of you have absolutely no idea the blessings that God has in store for you, the miracles that God has in store for you, because you can only see it from your teensy tiny perspective. You can only see it from where and how you think it should come in for you. Meanwhile, there are 1,000 other ways and 10,000 bigger blessings than what you're able to dream up in your little brain. So, I also pulled, I'm going to go ahead and skip forward now, but I also pulled another card. It's Psalms 121 verse 1. And it says, Theodore Teddy Roosevelt, the 26th president of the United States, once remarked, quote, "When you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on," end quote. Desperation has been described as a composite feeling. That is, many feelings rolled into one. So confusion, fear, uncertainty, and these are all constitutions of feelings of desperation. So that explains why it's so excruciating and why it's so detrimental to your mental health. Oftentimes, even though we want to tie a knot for ourselves, as Teddy Roosevelt advises, we don't know how. We don't know how to get ourselves out of this situation. We don't know how to see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? So, inevitably, someone comes to our rescue. Didn't I just say that? There has not been one time in my entire life where God did not rescue me when I asked for it, where God did not come to my rescue and save me. And in fact, God has been the only person I can rely on to save me. So since I know that, it's almost disrespectful. It's borderline disrespectful. And this is why Moses got so upset when he came back and he spent all that time, 40 days and 40 nights, getting the message of the Lord, getting the rules, getting the 10 commandments. And he comes back and he smashes the tablets because it was, in his mind in that moment, his anger got the best of him, obviously. But in his mind in that moment, it was all for nothing. I suffered like this for nothing. The second I left, the second I was out of your sight, you built a fake God. You built a cow. You're worshiping a cow. As if I haven't shown you the miracles that the Lord has given. As if I haven't literally freed you from Egypt. And it's disrespectful. That's what it is. So again, what should have taken 10 months, 10 days, 10 years is now going to take you 40 because I feel disrespected. I feel like this was a waste of my time. I feel like you lied. I feel like you didn't believe this whole time. I've shown you numerous times, over and over and over again, how God will come to your rescue. And the second that you are faced with any opposition, you give up. No, that's actually not how it works. That's actually how you create your own suffering. Okay? So continue on to reading Psalms 121 verse 1. So the Irish call such a person an Anamachara, girl, I don't know, Anamchara, which means a soul friend. In truth, a soul friend serves as an instrument of the divine. The friends, of whom the poet Alfred Tennyson said, quote, "Closer is he than breathing, and nearer than hands and feet," end quote. So, look around yourself in every direction. You will find your soul friend who can help you tie that much needed knot. So, obviously, I guess another analogy for me to make of this is, and I really don't know, you guys probably know better than I do, but what is that story of where the man is drowning in a boat, or he's out at sea or whatever, and like, he's in a boat, the boat is like, it's sinking. And he's like, "Lord, send me help. Lord, please rescue me. Lord, send me help." And a fisherman goes by, a ship goes by, and they're all saying like, "Hey, do you need help? Hey, do you need some help? Hey, I can help you." And the guy's like, "No, the Lord's got me. He's going to help me. nope, it's okay. Keep going. The Lord's got me. And eventually the guy, he doesn't make it, you know? So he ends up, you know, unaliving. So, yeah. And then he gets to heaven and he's in front of God and he's like, God, you know, I was asking for help and you never showed up to help me. And God is like, excuse me? I sent a fisherman. I sent a boat. I sent a life raft. I sent everything and you kept refusing it. So that's a call to ask yourself, where are the people around you, or where are the lifelines that are being sent to you that you're choosing to ignore because you're expecting the blessing to show up exactly how you have it pictured, not how God has it pictured? Because again, and to relate this to my own testimony, my own story, I have applied for jobs and I have heard back. I haven't quite made it to the interview process, but that's because I'm like, no, I think God is going to help me with something better. I think God is going to help me with something more aligned. But who's to say if I wouldn't walk through that door that even if I went in for that interview, maybe I do the interview so well that they offer me a CEO position, or they offer me a position that pays even higher, or it's about being in the right place at the right time and allowing God to lead you there. Not working on your own time, not working on your own image of how the blessing should be, but working on how God allows the blessing to come to you. Okay? Don't skip past an obvious message or an obvious lifeboat, life vest, when it's so clear that God is trying to help you. And it's also so clear that you're refusing the help because you want it to show up in a gold calf. Okay? Moral of the story here. So I also pulled, I just like to do these divination cards just because, like I said, I really truly feel like, one, it helps me keep up with content because it is hard coming on here and I feel like I'm saying the same story or I'm only giving my side of the testimony when obviously there are so many other things going on in the world and so many other messages that people need to hear. So I like to pull from other cards as well. So I have 1 John verse 4:10 here. There is no greater love than the love God has for me. And you know what's so funny? I never would have experienced God's love if not for becoming a parent myself. And I say that to say, there's nothing else like the love and the joy that you have from being a parent. That's why I know that parents that are like cruel, mean, envious of their children, there is a special place in HE double hockey sticks for them, because to bypass that natural instinct to love your child with everything in you, the same love that God has for us, because what? We are his children. We are his children. Yes, we deviate. Yes, we fail him. Yes, we disappoint him. But he always, no matter what, still loves us. No matter what. So, again, when you have parents that are just yucky to their kids, there is a special place in HE double hockey sticks for them. And I'm not even going to go into the story with my parents, but let's just say I know I won't be seeing them in heaven. It's just not possible unless they do the healing, unless they repent, unless they truly mean it from their heart and they're able to bypass their or not bypass their ego, but they're able to defeat their ego. I will never see them in heaven, and that's a fact. But the message of that was to say that just watching my daughter learn and grow and develop, there is no greater feeling than being a parent. Literally no greater feeling. So I know that same love and that same joy and that same warmness in my heart that I feel when I look in my daughter's eyes or I see her do something that's just so simple, but to me it's like astonishing. But I know that that's how God views me. I know that same love that I have for my daughter is the exact same love that God has for me as his daughter. So there isn't anything I wouldn't do for my daughter. There isn't anything within my will, my power, my authority that I would not do for my daughter. And that same level of love, that same concept, that same grit, that same heart is exactly how God feels for us. Everything is within his power. Everything is within his control. So to think that he wouldn't go above and beyond for you, to think that he wouldn't show up for you, to think that he wouldn't do everything in his power, and his power is limitless, to do what you are asking of him, to help you through whatever you're going through, it's disrespectful. Honor your mother and your father. God is your father. Earth is your mother. Honor them. Honor them. Don't disrespect them. Don't litter. Don't pollute the earth. This is the only earth that we have. Once it's gone, we are gone. We only have one God. Once you disconnect from him, you are disconnected. It's giving me chills. The next one I pulled is I see beauty in everything. What is this? Ecclesiastes? Child? Ecclesiastes. 3 verse 11. I see beauty in everything. And God created everything. The same way that he loves each and every one of us, he sees the beauty in the struggle. He sees the beauty in the journey of 40 days and 40 nights to the mountaintop. He even sees the beauty in the disappointment that Moses felt in the Hebrews. He sees that. You know, there is beauty in that because it lets you know that you're human. The anger, the joy, the sadness, the despair. Oh my goodness. Imagine if you didn't feel these things. You would be a robot. You wouldn't be real. You wouldn't be human. These are all things that we shy away from. Yeah, I don't want to lower my vibration. I don't want to lower my vibes. Listen, it's more important to be completely honest with yourself and to release those feelings however you see fit than to smother them as if they don't exist, because essentially that's smothering your own existence. Okay? We are all human. We are all going to get upset. We are all going to disappoint each other. We're all going to disappoint God at some point in some time. But guess what? He still loves us. Guess what? He's still going to show up for us. Guess what? He still sees the beauty in us, no matter what. So that's it for this week's This Mess is Holy. If today's conversation touched your spirit, let it linger, share it, send it to a friend, and keep the light moving. We're back every Sunday with more truth, more tenderness, and more of the holy chaos we call life.
Until next time,
remember, even in the mess, there's always something sacred.